Reality warpers are some of the strongest characters in fiction. They can do whatever they want, whenever they want. But unfortunately for people in these universe, their reality warpers are complete jerks. Bill Cipher, the weird demon, and Mr.Mxyzptlk, a fifth-dimensional being from the DC universe. This is the virtual arena, the reality jerks. Let's start things off with Bill Cipher. Bill doesn't have much of an origin story other than he's a being who destroyed his own universe because why not? Anyway, Bill Cipher is very powerful. Being a reality warper, he can pretty much do anything. Now, several things he has shown is a death laser, the force, which is basically telekinesis, the ability to shapeshift, make anything out of nowhere, and other stuff. He can basically do whatever he wants because he's a reality warper. Okay, now let's talk about his stats. For speed, it's infinite since he's a reality warper. For strength, the same thing. For durability, the same thing. For intelligence, he is very smart, being able to trick some very smart people, but he gets tricked a lot too, so he's not that smart. Okay, now let's talk about his weaknesses. One of his main weaknesses that we found was the fact that if he gets trapped in someone's mind and that mind is erased, he will too be erased. Another thing that can beat Bill, it seems to be an infinite force. As seen as Stanford's particle gun and the ritual circle, it is very likely this could defeat Bill. And since Bill is infinite, it should take an infinite amount of force to destroy him. Another thing to consider about Bill is his fighting style. When he's enraged, he goes into full combat mode, but when he's not, he usually likes to mess around with the opponent, not really taking things seriously. This is only a factor depending on what mood he's in. Overall, Bill Cipher without and with scaling is multi-universal. With infinite powers, he is pretty much invincible. Unless you can exploit his weaknesses, you are not gonna defeat him. Now it's time for Mr.Mxyzptlk or Mxyzptlk or however you say his dumb name, I don't know. Anyway, Mr.Mxyzptlk or however you say his name again, has a lot of power. Since he's too a reality warper, he can basically do whatever he wants. He has shown many different powers, including shape-shifting, body switching, magic, and others. Mr.Mxyzptlk can basically do whatever he wants, whenever he wants, like Bill, since he's a reality warper, so snap of his finger, he does whatever he wants. Okay, now for stats. He has infinite speed, strength, and durability. Wow. Anyway, for his intelligence, he is pretty smart, but he gets tricked a lot too, so he's not the smartest. Okay, now for his weakness. His weakness is having him spell or say his name backwards. Yes, that's his weakness. I know, it's dumb. Now, doing this is only temporary because he gets 3 months to come back. But if you do it twice, he is pretty much gone forever. So that's a plus. Now for an overall. With and without scaling, he is multi-universal thanks to reality warping. Okay, let's get into the results. Now it's time for the results. This fight will take place in Gravity Falls and there will be no prep time. With all that taken factor in, the winner of this virtual arena is Bill Cipher by default. Now, this is probably the hardest battle I had to figure out on the virtual arena so far. Both characters are pretty much infinite and once again, neither one could really die. Another thing to take into factor is that majority of these categories are basically useless. The only way we can decide a winner is dependent on their personalities, their experience, and their weaknesses. In terms of weaknesses, Bill's weakness is way more hard to exploit than Mr.Mxyzptlk is. You see, the only way Mxyzptlk is gonna defeat Bill is if he either use all his power against Bill, which he probably wouldn't, considering the fact he likes to mess around with his opponent first, and he needed someone else to trap Bill in so he can erase their minds, which he can't do his own. Now, Mxyzptlk does have more experience since he wasn't trapped all that time in the mine and only got like less than a week of fighting. He has more experience than Bill. But another thing that brings him down is the fact that he gets tricked a lot. Seriously, Mxyzptlk gets tricked by Superman a lot and he has the same weakness every time. You think he would have found a way to not get tricked constantly over and over. This does make Bill way more intelligent since one, he only has been tricked once into being betrayed from Stanford, and that's because he didn't read his mind. While Mxyzptlk had several times to try to defeat Superman, he always gets tricked into losing. Okay, now this fight would take many years, even a century to resolve, but if I had to give a win to a default, I will give it to Bill since he has a less exploitable weakness, gets tricked less, and he relies on fighting more than Mxyzptlk. Overall, the winner is Bill Cipher. Thanks for watching this episode of Virtual Arena. Next time is the Super Soldier Captain America versus the Super Soldier 76. I hope you can see that episode. Hopefully it can come out next week. I don't know. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Coliseum. Virtual Arena. I got that wrong. My bad.